Asking the questions of the day. Talking about what happened yesterday, the day before, and way back when. It's the good, the bad, and the ugly, and all the crazy stuff, too, that happened this week with the guy who's the good, the bad, and the ugly. Pick one in sports. It's Saturday Morning Sports with Dave Long.
All right, welcome back to the program. Second hour of the Saturday Morning Sports with Dave Long. That's me. Sean Sendal's here. Ravi is here. And we have an update in case you're two updates regarding Wimbledon first. Sean was completely wrong. And Kvitova, it's Petra Kvitova is her pronunciation of her name. And
you didn't want to say the K.
She's running the no, I was wondering if you say the K. But anyway, she's running the table basically on Eugenie Bouchard.
Dominating.
Ravi is in she won the first set 6-3 and it's 5-0.
Yeah.
So it's more over than the Red Sox are. So Wimbledon's it's kind of a rough break for Wimbledon, right? That they're right in the middle of the World Cup. Of course, England got knocked out in the first game, didn't they?
Say, all of England's paying attention to tennis now.
Yeah, so they got nothing to pay attention to. But anyway, all right, speaking of the World Cup, let's go to story number one.
Number one.
All right, the World Cup has two semifinal teams, and they get two more today. So the question is, what has been the biggest story so far in the World Cup for you guys?
Do you have anything off the top of your head? Go ahead.
Well, all right, I'll start. I think the biggest thing for me has been the U.S. You know, I'm gonna start with that.
Dan Shaughnessy figures in here. She was ripping the U.S. and he was ripping the World Cup.
So here's the thing: you've drawn 15 million plus viewers for each match, drawing almost a 12 share in a lot of major cities in this country. So maybe soccer is coming up in this country finally.
I have a theory about that, but go ahead.
Maybe
they had 30 million people in the
Portugal game.
The Portugal game. No, not the Portugal. No, the German. Was it the Portugal game?
The Portugal game.
I thought it was because they could have got in. They could have
game.
They could have got out of the round with the win.
Right.
Instead, they gagged it and took gagged a big lead and wound up being tied.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay.
So the off the field.
You can't say bad things about soccer because the soccer people get mad at you if you say somebody's like gagging it, right?
But I'm not sure. That's what I keep hearing, and I'm a soccer person, and people don't. I'm not like that.
Okay,
go
ahead.
That's exactly my point.
All
you guys.
I'm sorry I interrupted you.
No, that's exactly what my point is. The off the field product.
I was hoping you were going to get to your point. But anyway, go ahead.
Talking to Ravi here.
Has been awful because, like you're saying, you cannot be critical of the soccer team. They are grown men playing soccer. You do not. I feel that the ESPN media has tried to protect them through everything that they've done.
It's almost like the Seinfeld episode where it's not that there's anything wrong with that when they did the story on being gay, and we're not gay. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's almost the same thing with people who are not as enamored with soccer as the soccer people are.
That's correct. And Sean, I give him a lot of credit, is a soccer person. You know, he's able to look at it from a critical eye, which this country needs to learn how to do, or soccer, the on-field product will never improve.
Yeah, if you say something like they blew the lead, not that teams don't blow leads, although blowing big leads in soccer is pretty hard to do, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
come on.
No.
I mean, look what happened if Germany got
is
the
it,
when
is
Germany
it tough
got
to do
their
in hockey?
Well, when Germany, yeah, because they're
okay.
because
then if it's that the case, then yes.
How many shots on goal did the Americans get against Germany? One.
Yes, actually, one.
All right. So once they got that goal, Germany, they just packed it in and just protected, right?
But there's ways to stretch out the defense. There's ways to attack still.
Right. But I'm saying it's not like blowing a 2-goal lead. Blowing a 2-goal lead in soccer is like blowing a 27-point lead
blowing
in the NBA.
Blowing it in the 95th minute is unacceptable.
Right. Okay. All right. So if this was the Red Sox, people would be apoplectic about them doing
correct.
it, right?
That's absolutely correct.
If it was the U.S. Olympic hockey team, they'd be apoplectic about that. But you can't. Not that there's anything wrong with that, right?
I think also the expectations for the U.S. Olympic hockey team are higher than the expectations for U.S. soccer team, because simply stated, the country's been playing hockey a lot longer than been playing soccer.
Petra
at an elite level.
Kvitova has just won Wimbledon women's title.
That was over like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
That was fast.
That was
She
the
just won
quickest match I've ever
like
seen.
6 games in like 2 seconds, right?
Yeah.
About a minute and a half. I mean, the set started while we were in break,
Right.
and it's over already.
Ravi, you were way off.
Yeah, I told you. I thought you'd been better if you picked the Cowboys, Ravi. All right, back to what you're saying. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, it's all right. I just think that going to your point, people would be apoplectic, as you said, about hockey team losing, whatever it be, right after pool play. But with soccer, the expectations are not that they're going to win the World Cup. Whether you like it or not, they're not. You want to see steady improvement every 4 years. And I think they showed it getting out of a pool that was looked at as the group of death.
Which was completely more overrated than The Sopranos, I might add, because, Portugal
Did not play well. But coming
Ghana
into it,
self-destructed. I mean, come on.
Ghana's a talented team. Portugal
And you only
was
have,
the fourth
and you can
ranked
get
team
out.
in the
This
world.
is my thing about it. I think there's a lot of positives. I'll get to on the field in a second. There's a lot of positives about the World Cup. The 30 million people listening, watching a soccer game. Who would have thunk that even 4 years ago, let alone 10 years ago? And so that to me is soccer making progress, or is the World Cup making progress? To me, who gets the biggest bump out of this thing? That's a question we're going to answer at the end of this segment. But I want to talk about some other big stories. All right? We've got Brazil, a chance to be the home team in the final. They got to get by Germany. Are they going to do that? Pretty handicapped. But in any sport, can you lose your best player in any sport and cover it up better than in soccer? You lose LeBron James, you're pretty much dead, right?
Yeah.
In a NBA game. Although,
The Penguins have done it well when Sidney Crosby went down.
did they win it?
No, but they were able to at least. There was the regular season, and Crosby came back.
There's
during
just
the playoffs.
so many more scoring opportunities in hockey. The scoring may be as hard, but there's so many opportunities. It's so back and forth. Here, you can control the middle of the field. It's hard to blow a big lead, isn't it?
Again, in theory, there's ways to attack the game, but yes, in theory, if a team wants to play defensive minded and has good foot control and passing skills, something the U.S. seems to lack, then yes, you can. If you can control possession, you can control the game because there's no shot clock.
Right. It's like it's like playing rope-a-dope or the four corners in
Yes.
a way. You can do
Yes,
that
exactly.
to control things. All right. Other big stories. Luis Suarez. I didn't realize he'd bitten people 3 times.
Twice before. 3 times. Yes.
He did look experienced with that bite. I mean, right in the shoulder, right in the tendon. So
You should see some of the other ones. He actually physically grabbed someone's arm and pulled it to his mouth.
and they
in one of the
gave
other
him
ones.
the massive sentence of 9 games. The guy should be, if that's his 3rd one, shouldn't he be suspended for life?
Well, it's,
I mean, it
think
is
it's
kind of
6 months.
You have
but-
to. It is kind of antisocial, but it's not like he punched the guy in the face. All right,
bit him,
he
though.
bit him, and he bit him premeditatedly.
yeah.
I mean, he might have snapped when he did it. He's got anger management issues, doesn't he?
Very clearly.
He should be suspended for 2 years, at least. At least.
I also recently saw that Barcelona is willing to pay his buyout fee to Liverpool, so it looks like he may be moving on to the Spanish league away from John Henry's team, and John Henry's going to make a pretty penny from that.
Well,
75 million
Shaughnessy
pounds.
will have something to say about that as well, won't he?
I'm not sure I can give him any credibility to say I have something to say about that when he refuses to acknowledge soccer.
Here's we'll talk about that in a second, but here's another thing I like. I like the play-in round or the
pool play?
The
Pool
yeah,
play,
I do
yeah.
like that. You get because if you're waiting 4 years, in a way, it's better than the NCAA tournament. To me, this is a mix between the NCAA tournament, basketball tournament, and the Olympics. And if you're waiting 4 years, and in other countries besides here, their tongues are hanging out, going, dying for this to come. If it was single elimination, that'd be pretty disappointing. So I like the idea that you get to see your team play 3 games regardless of what happens.
Right. I mean, they may be already out by that third,
I
but-
especially liked it in England when the smug Brits were out of it after the first game and they had to watch 2 more. But I like that aspect. I think that's good. And then they go to the single elimination. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I think that's a very good aspect of it.
The World Cup is over quickly. I mean, it's a month for all intents and purposes, and you're done.
1 game a week to me. I mean, come on. They should be playing 3 games a week. It's not that tough.
I think
It's not football.
No, it's not. Certainly not football. And they are running for 90 minutes. Most of them.
Yes, they're not running. There's some guys are standing there and
You get a little
waiting
jog on once in a while.
I mean, if the ball gets in the offensive end, the defense isn't running around. Are they?
Sometimes the wing defenders will make a run up.
Occasionally,
You've
right?
seen it a lot for the U.S. team this season, or this World Cup, I should say.
And Neymar, if he was playing in the NFL, I mean, he broke a vertebrae in his back, he'd be playing, right?
I don't know. It's your back.
It sounds kind of bad. I got to say that. But
He was crying. I was like, something's wrong with this man.
here's another big story. I'm just being facetious, but Germany. This is the best Germany's done in Brazil since all the Nazis left after World War II and hid in Brazil.
Oh, they hid in Argentina too.
Yeah, well, I mean, but they were in Brazil. The boys from Brazil. But so anyway, I think Germany's going to win. But I'm rooting for Belgium to beat Argentina. Can they do it today?
Yeah.
High-scoring Belgium.
There's
There's two reasons I want Belgium to win.
Argentina's all Lionel Messi.
I want Belgium to win, and I want the Netherlands to beat Costa Rica today.
I think that'll happen. Netherlands look very good.
And the reason I want that is because no one is the Netherlands. This is a stupid question, but that's Holland, right?
Yes.
Yep.
So why don't they call them Holland?
Because they're
I
both.
never got that.
I have never
They're
understood
both
either.
Holland. They have two names. What country has two names?
The United States?
Yeah.
And yeah, good point. I guess I'm for that. All right. So anyway, I want everybody to be confused and not know who they're rooting for. And I like Belgium because they're high scoring. So I'm rooting Belgium all the way.
No, I think you're actually missing the point with Belgium. Belgium is a very defensive-minded team if you actually watch the games, and they find the right times to attack.
Who beat Spain?
Netherlands is very
Who
offensive-minded.
beat Spain?
No.
25 to
That was the
3.
Netherlands.
Oh, all right. I'm rooting for them. I take it back.
Okay.
Forget Belgium. See, I got
That
mixed
makes
up
more
already.
sense.
I always thought
That
Belgium.
makes more sense
I
to
thought
me.
the Netherlands was part of Belgium.
They're next to each other.
I know they both got overrun during World War II. So
The countries are
I
like
know.
a speck on the.
I know.
They're like
Well,
the size
anyway,
of Rhode Island.
So I'm confused. But anyway, all right. Now let's quickly get to America's play on the field. Shaughnessy says no one cares about it because he doesn't like it. And he doesn't like the fact that the soccer, as Ravi said, that the soccer knots get ticked off if you say anything bad about the World Cup
The
or
irony
soccer.
behind this season,
Which I think is ironic because
all I've heard from are the people who hate it.
aren't soccer people like Red Sox Nation used to be when they talk to Yankee fans? There's a belligerence that built up because the Yankees were at center stage for so long, and the Red Sox always something bad happened to them, and they were belligerent about it. Isn't that what soccer people are to people who in this country who made fun of soccer?
I think it's a
Same
pretty,
thing.
pretty
Good
apropos
comparison,
analogy.
yeah.
Same thing. So I mean, if you don't like it, you don't like it. So what?
Well, I just think I've heard more from the people that don't like it.
You like soccer.
Yeah.
I'm curious about this. I'm not an anti-soccer person, but I've been accused it because I said something about I think the American team is vastly overrated. And I'll give Shaughnessy credit on one thing. He said, when did a team that won once in 4 games turn into the 1980 U.S. Olympic hockey team?
Well, it's a team that got out of their pool. The goal is to get out of your pool.
How hard is
doesn't
it to get out of
matter
their
how
pool?
you-
They
how
were
you do
1
it.
and 2. They won one game.
It doesn't matter how you do it. The goal is to get out of your pool.
Yeah, but how tough is it? They're making it seem like they climbed Mount Everest.
Look, the Olympics do this too.
I mean,
the goal is
Ghana
to get out of your pool to begin.
self-destructed, right?
Yes, Ghana did. But I still think they played well. But they didn't play well enough.
I'm not picking on them. They played
I think
hard.
Portugal self-destructed more.
I just don't think it's hard. I don't think it's a monumental achievement to get out of there. And is there anything that's more overrated name than the group of death?
But you're looking at there are 32 teams that make it into the World Cup, and half of them don't move on to that next step.
Right.
It's just because they back
half
in.
of them do.
How many NFL teams back into the playoffs? How many times?
Rarely
you've
does it
seen
happen.
Once a year. You
Rarely
see it.
does it
How
happen.
many times in the Olympic hockey do you see out of pool play? They strategically play to win their pool and then move on from there.
Yeah, but strategically play. They had Portugal, right?
They
had
blew
Portugal.
that one. I
and
already
they
said
blew
they
the
blew
game,
that one.
and then they lost to Germany. So to me, they
played they played the way they needed
all
to
I'm
against
saying
Germany.
is they won 1 game in 4. They're not an elite team.
No,
They're
not.
under
No,
500,
I didn't
and
say they
I don't
were
think
an elite
they
team.
overachieved. I don't think they did anything.
No, I don't think they overachieved. I don't think they
I think
underachieved.
it's great.
I think it's great they got out of the pool.
I think it's great that so many people are into it. I give them credit. I'm not saying that it's not tough to play in the World Cup since they're the best 32 teams, But 32. What is the team? We're number 31. What can they yell? No, they can yell. We're number 16, I guess, because they get knocked out. All I'm saying is that the performance, what they did on the field, based on any other sport in this country, they'd be looking at it and saying that team's no good.
But again, I look at
All
it.
I'm saying is
you
that.
made the analogy with hockey and the Olympics. Hockey does pool play in the beginning of the Olympics. It's the same idea.
Right, but the U.S. Olympic hockey team, when they beat the Russians, the best team in the world, if who's the best team in the world right now in soccer?
Germany. Or Brazil.
All right,
Germany
so if
or
they
Brazil.
beat Germany, then I'll say, okay, that's pretty good. All I'm saying is they lost more than they won, and they choked away another one to make it a tie. So I don't think they played that well. Maybe they played better than most people think they're capable of, but I don't think they played that well.
That's the problem. I think I agree with Dave more on this than you, Sean. I see your point. I understand what you're saying.
They have an incredibly easy pass here because they're not among the elite teams. And I'm saying you've been playing soccer in this country for 40 years. That's 2 generations. They should be able to look at to be in that group of people. And I don't think the way they train around the world is that it makes as big a difference as everybody seems to. Because they do it in basketball, and I don't see anybody saying America can't compete with other teams that do that kind of training in basketball. Sorry, Robbie, I cut you off.
No, that's fine. But I think what Dave's point here is simple: is that they beat Ghana. The country is great. They're
It's the size of Rhode Island, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a small country. Yes, their major sport
All
is
they do there is play soccer.
Soccer, yes, and I get that. And that's
You've got 4 other sports prior to soccer that get the best athletes in this
Jackie
country.
Robinson played 4 sports. So what?
It'd be like, are people going crazy over track and field?
Are there
Like,
so
I
many?
know you
Are there
like
so
track and
many
field
Dominican?
every 4 years.
Are there so many Dominican people from the Dominican Republic in the major leagues simply because they just play baseball all the time, or is it because not as many of our best athletes are playing baseball and they're going to the sports that are more athletic, football and basketball?
That's what I just said.
Oh.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
There's
that's
4 other sports prior to soccer that these kids are picking from.
Well, what I'm saying is that people are saying because the people in the Dominican Republic are playing baseball, that's why there's so many people in Major League Baseball from that small country. And I'm saying it's because others are playing other sports.
Right.
And
that's exactly
there's
my
more
point.
opportunity. So what I'm saying is just because they play all the time doesn't make them great. That's all I'm saying.
Right, but in the United States, you're playing 4, maybe 5 other sports before you play soccer. When it's time to choose, when it's time, everyone plays a little bit.
Soccer was such a great game, then people would be playing soccer, wouldn't it?
Oh, I think at some point people are going to
They've
agree
been
with
doing
that.
it. That's what I'm saying. They're the best athletes are going to other sports. That's all I'm saying.
Right now they are, and I just think that.
But we
at
have
some
300 million people in this country.
All right, and
Don't
China
we?
has 1 billion.
Right.
They should beat everybody and everything then.
They should be. No, I'm saying they should be competitive. Is there any other sport that America isn't competitive in? Any other sport?
You can't tell
I
me
mean,
it's not
top
competitive.
level competitive.
Top 16 is not
Top
bad
level
in the
competitive.
entire world. Top 16
They're top
is really
level
not
competitive in
bad.
everything. Sometimes they're not going to win every time, but they're right there in every other sport, even women's soccer. And do they train differently around the world in women's soccer?
I don't know.
I would imagine they do, right?
I don't maybe.
So I'm just saying the American men get a free pass. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, they do, and that's the biggest issue here, that they get a free pass, and that's the only problem I have with it. And that's it. I mean, that's really the whole problem here.
All right.
We'll see what happens in 18.
We were going to make this a 5-minute segment, and it turned into like a 20-minute brawl. All right. That's it for the World Cup. We're coming back to the Red Sox and Major League Baseball when we return here on the Saturday Morning Sports.
The Nashua Silver Knights offer the best baseball experience in all of New Hampshire. The tickets